How do I do this? How come I can't play it on here? Hey, Zach. Zach, my mod, my TikTok mod. How's it going? Zach, can you see my screen? Guys, today's been so crazy. Today's been so crazy. You can't, like, I can't. I just can't. I can't. I wanted so badly. I had to, like, edit the video that I made today to that fucking moron on TikTok because you guys know how TikTok is and how censorious it is. So I really couldn't yell. I really couldn't scream. I really couldn't say the things that I wanted to say to that fucking idiot. Why are people so fucking stupid is the question. I don't have a good setup here, and I'm still trying to figure out how to use StreamYard. It doesn't really let you play from the thing, but I need to calm down. I have been so angry today. Like, I've just been really angry today. I have had my fill of stupid fucking people today. Like, for real, for real. Why isn't this working? Mr. Chow, Senator TikTok was funny though. Oh, thank you. Yeah, you know what's funny about that, Zach, is that the video that I made about that, uh, they actually let oh, thanks, Jamie. They actually let that stay, but the video that I made making fun of Barry Weiss, they just, like, suppressed it. They just, like, shadow banned it. Anything I do making fun of any of those fucking Zionist pieces of shit, they censor. Those fucking racist Zionist pieces of shit. Okay. That's better. Oh, thanks, Mo. Yeah, like, I don't know. I'm just tired today because they've been, like, really attacking me today. That's so funny. I'm just, like, tired. I feel like I spent so much time today just, like, fighting with Zionists and just, like, being yelled at and being threatened, and I'm like, "These people are such pieces of shit." Yeah. True. True. They do. That is true. Yeah, I can, but it's usually after they have, like, gone psycho or written messages to me or something like that, then I'll block them, but it doesn't stop it right away. One of the things that I wanted to talk about, and I can't talk about it on TikTok because I know they'll take it down, like, you can't talk about certain things on there, obviously, but, was do you guys are you guys familiar with Brian Mast, Congressman Brian Mast? And what he said on, what he said about, Palestinians to Code Pink. Are you guys familiar with that? No, Zach, it wasn't on X. It was, on TikTok and Instagram. Although X is where I first got doxed. Okay, I wanna show this to you guys because it's fucking deranged. Yes, Lucenza, it is that. So Yeah, it's so evil. It is so evil. That's why I put Brian Mast and MTG are demons. Okay, so hold on. I'm going to present. I'm still trying to fucking figure out how to use this. It's really rageful. It's really rageful. Okay. Let me know when I click on it, guys, if you can hear it.
So I'm just saying, are the unborn innocent?
I'm not here to talk about abortion.
You know, there are thousands of innocent people being killed
Are the
in
unborn
Gaza every single day.
$452,000
And
for
you don't care
PayPal.
about that because you know what? You don't care about Palestinians.
Pardon?
Do you think the IDF is discriminating in who they kill?
No, they're very, very specific about who they try to kill.
Even Biden said indiscriminate
It's why
bombing.
they warn people to get out of a building before they go there. It's why they warn people to leave. So you think combatants can't be at a mosque? They can't be at a hospital?
Right, wait.
You probably buy into the Al Aliyah hospital bombing that was somehow
Israel.
You guys were out there supporting
I
that
have an
one, right?
important question.
So I remember
Where
you
is
were
there a safe place to be?
Oh, thanks, Mo.
Where's there a safe place to be? Where can people go for safety?
I'm not sure.
No one.
When
We wanted
Israel-
Listen to what he says here, guys.
Israel takes a precision-guided munition and puts it
They're using
into a
mostly dumb
specific
bombs. You've
place.
seen
When
that.
they put it
Mostly
into
dumb
a
bombs,
specific place,
including
that is,
2,000 pound
they're
bombs.
not dumb. They're
Come on.
specifically aimed.
They admit it.
And
They
they-
admit it.
They're
So
not
when you,
dumb.
you
A
you
dumb
can't-
bomb would be like carpet bombing.
You can't.
No, they
from
are
the
using dumb bombs.
You can't have killed 25,000. They've already
They're not
killed
carpet
25,000
It's
people.
not-
That is not
that's not
precision bombing.
Those
Wait
naive
a
people
minute,
that I've
wait a
never
minute,
come
wait a
in
minute.
contact
Are you
with.
saying there are not
What's it
thousands
like
of
going through
innocent
life
people
this
being
naive?
killed?
What's it like going through life this naive?
I actually go through life caring about humanity everywhere in the world, and you don't. You know,
Oh,
you
Faith.
are naive because you think there is a military solution to this. The Israelis have been trying the military solution. There is none. You know why? Because there's 75 years of oppression.
Hey,
And
Mouthy.
you have to deal with the oppression because there will always be a resistance.
True. Okay, that wasn't even the video, but yeah, Mouthy, I'm still trying to figure out the streaming. I still haven't figured out how to like share with it. But that wasn't even the video, okay? That wasn't the video. Where's the part 1?
Are
Oh, it's
heartless.
this one.
Do you realize how heartless you are?
It'd be better if you kill all the terrorists and kill every one of their supporters.
It's not a solution.
Oh, it's a great solution.
You haven't seen the pictures of all the babies being killed?
These are not innocent Palestinian civilians across the world. When you're looking at the 500,000 people starving to death, are people that should go out there and put a government in place that doesn't go out there and attack Israel on a daily basis. So
These kids,
7-year-olds, 9-year-olds. They destroyed more infrastructure.
All right, you guys got that? Everybody got that? This guy is a demon, okay? Let's just be clear about that. This guy is a demon. First of all, he said there are no innocent children in Gaza. That's how fucking racist these people are. This guy is such a piece of garbage that he's saying that there are no innocent Palestinian children. None. Then on top of that, he says, why don't they rise up and replace their government? You mean the 3-year-olds? The 3-year-olds. The 3-year-olds are supposed to rise up and take over. Got it. This guy is trash, okay? And by the way, that's offensive to demons. And by the way, this guy's up for re-election this year, and he's in a Democrat plus 9 district. So if you guys live in Florida, vote him the fuck out. Mo, you said, why can't politicians be impeached when they say racist shit like this? Well, technically they could be censured or they could be forced out of Congress. They forced George Santos out of Congress. They don't because of Israel's control over our government. That's why. Because they censured Rashida Tlaib for saying from the river to the sea. They censured her for that. But they let this garbage, this demon walk around and totally dehumanize the Palestinians and say that there are no Palestinian children that are innocent and say there are no civilians. He was the guy that said when it first happened that there were no innocent civilians in Gaza. And yet, he doesn't get censured. In fact, he doesn't get censured, but Ilhan Omar got censured for a fake quote. A fake quote. Something she didn't even say. Yeah, and you know what else about Brian Mast? And you know what about Brian Mast? What he said. Brian Mast was also someone who, I think it's in here. Hold on. Brian Mast was the one who showed up in Congress wearing an IDF uniform. Okay.
You have
Look
to
at
answer
this piece
the
of trash.
decisions that you made during your time here, things that you did right and things that you did wrong.
Literally.
And the more that anybody humbles themselves to say, this is where I did something right, this is where I did something wrong, this is what I learned from what I did wrong in the past.
Okay. All right. Okay. So he's trash. And also treason. Treason. Why are you wearing another military's uniform in Congress? Why? You're a United States congressman. Why are you wearing the IOF uniform in Congress? Literal loyalty to another government. Literally. Oh my gosh, first class. That's insane. And here's what I want you guys to understand too that's so fucking insufferable about all of this disgusting racism and xenophobia and Islamophobia and anti-Arab bigotry that we are seeing right now. That piece of garbage that we just saw saying that there were no innocent Palestinian civilians did not get censured. He's gotten almost $500,000 from AIPAC alone. And AIPAC isn't the only one. There's Democratic Majority for Israel. There is NORPAC. Yeah. So you got that. And that, okay, so get that. So he wears a military uniform into Congress that is not an American. Okay. And then traitor, hashtag traitor. And then you have him not getting censured for saying that there are no innocent Palestinian children. Yet, then you have Marjorie Taylor Greene, who is also a piece of human garbage, trying to censure Ilhan Omar, who's the only Muslim woman in Congress who wears a hijab, because she took a speech that Ilhan Omar gave and lied, did like a fake translation of it, and then claimed that Ilhan Omar had dual loyalty to Somalia. But when you listen, if you listen to the translation that Marjorie Taylor Greene claims is what do you call it? Is like dual loyalty. You could replace exactly what they're saying from Somalia to Israel, and it would be what we're doing. So let me get this straight. We can have people do whatever we want for Israel. We've got to serve Israel's government. You can wear an Israeli uniform in the American Congress. But if you're Ilhan Omar and you're a Black woman, you're a Muslim, you're a naturalized citizen, and you're speaking to your constituents about your concerns, all of a sudden, they want to deport her. Okay, so let me show you the clip that this piece of garbage, this troglodyte, this fucking caveman said.
Expel Ilhan Omar and deport her out. Today, I introduced a censure resolution against Ilhan Omar. And the reason why I did that, and I'll just say this, censure is not going far enough. If it were up to me, we would expel Ilhan Omar and deport her out of the United States. Her comments are outrageous. She's acting as a foreign agent within our very government. She said the U.S. government will only do what Somalians in the U.S.
First of all, just to be clear, everything she's reading is a lie. Like, Ilhan Omar did not say what she's reading. But again, racist as fuck. She's acting as a foreign agent in our government. Wait a second. Are you really concerned about people acting as foreign agents in our government, though? Are you? Because if you are, I've got a lot of qualms about what people are doing on behalf of the Israeli government. If you're really concerned about foreign agents in our government, maybe you should talk to Brian Mast. Maybe you should talk to all the people taking all the money from AIPAC. Maybe you should talk to him about wearing an IOF uniform in the halls of Congress. Like, it's amazing. It's amazing. It's just racism. Also, deport her. She's a fucking citizen. Like, what is wrong with people? What is wrong with people? Ilhan Omar is an American citizen. She was naturalized. So, deport her where? Deport. If we're just going to be deporting people randomly, can we deport this fucking troglodyte out of here? I don't even know, like, what her ancestry is, because she actually is a caveman. She's actually a caveman. So I think that we should deport her back to the Stone Age, this dumb fucking piece of shit, racist, ugly motherfucker. Because why? Why not? If Ilhan Omar can just be deported even though she's an American citizen, why not this fucking cave woman? Eastern Europe. She's not from Eastern. Is she though? Is she though? I don't think Eastern Europeans are that ugly. I'm thinking she is from the Stone Age. Yeah. 100%. Okay. So just keep in mind as we listen to this racist rant that it's not actually what Ilhan Omar said. Also, isn't it amazing how they don't do anything in Congress? They don't do anything. They just want to do things like censure and fucking useless shit to grandstand.
U.S. tell them to do. They will do what we want and nothing else. They must follow our orders, and that is how we will safeguard the interest of Somalia.
Lonely office
She also
ASMR.
said,
That was so
for
funny.
as long as I am in Congress, Somalia will never be in danger.
Its
waters will not be stolen by Ethiopia or others. Sleep in comfort knowing I am here to protect the interest of Somalia from inside the U.S. system.
Yes, send her to
Ilhan
the Red
Omar
Sea. Let the Houthis handle her.
needs to be censured, but censure is not enough. I'm telling you right now, she's acting as a foreign agent on behalf of a
No,
foreign
you're just making that up because
country.
you're a racist piece of shit.
Our country is going to be taken over from the inside. She's not the only one.
Fascist.
Look at Joe Biden. We're investigating Joe Biden for his family.
Yeah, you're investigating Joe Biden, a bullshit, horseshit fucking investigation that isn't going to go anywhere because what you're investigating him for is just him having a rich piece of shit son, which all of you guys have. So that's going nowhere. I just can't. I agree. I think that we should hashtag deport this troglodyte to the Red Sea and let the Houthis take care of her. Let the Houthis handle her. She is accusing Ilhan Omar of being a foreign agent. I would like a word with all of the people that take hundreds of millions of dollars from the Israeli lobby or the Egyptian lobby. Fucking Senator Bob Menendez fucking taking gold bars from the Egyptian lobby, the Egyptian government. She is garbage. And you'll notice, guys, too, the amount of fascist rhetoric that they use, because they constantly say things like they're taking over our country. They're invading us. They're infiltrating us from the inside. All of that literally is just fascism. That's literally just fascism. That's unironically shit that like Hitler said in the run up to the Holocaust. Yeah, she doesn't. The thing is that none of them do anything, right? Like none of them do anything. They all they want to do is pass tax cuts for the rich. Yeah, she totally does. That's all they care about doing. That's all they want to do. So when she does things like that, it's because they have no fucking agenda aside from fascism. It was recently a bill was passed out of the House that the Democrats and Republicans agreed on because Democrats wanted the child tax credit to be reinstated. And guess what Republicans wanted? Can anybody guess what the Republicans wanted in exchange for feeding hungry children? Tax cuts for the rich. More tax cuts and tax breaks for corporation always and forever with these people. She's just such garbage. They're all such garbage. And I think that that's the thing that makes this election year so hard is because I hate the Democrats. Like I really hate the Democrats. They're such trash. But then it's like I feel like we're in this just horrible, horrible situation because then it's like, as much as I hate the Democrats, I then turn around and I look at Brian Mast and Marjorie Taylor Greene and I'm like, oh my gosh, these people are actual fascists. These people are white supremacists. These people want a dictatorship. And I know that sometimes people on the left will be like, oh, you're just like trying to fearmonger. It's like, no, I'm not. Two things can exist at the same time. Like, yeah, the Democrats are trash. Also, the Republicans are fascists. Cenk is still trying to appeal getting on the ballot in South Carolina. You know, it's really too bad that they're not going to let him on because he should be able to get on. There's no reason why a naturalized citizen shouldn't be able to run for president. Why not? If the 14th Amendment actually means anything and you're a naturalized citizen, then you should have all the same rights as every other citizen. They shouldn't be treated as second-class citizens who aren't allowed to run for higher office. I don't know, you guys. This election year is already like so insanely stressful. It's going to be... I'm excited for the empire to fall. I mean, on the one hand, yes. On the other hand, the cost of that is going to come with tons of people dying and tons of people in pain and tons of people's rights being taken away. In Florida right now, they just passed a law making it illegal for trans people to have their gender that they identify with on their driver's license, and they can get arrested and get to up to 5 years in prison for that. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I guess it's just scary to think about all the people that are going to get hurt. Because it's always the most vulnerable. It's not going to be rich people that get hurt. It's not going to be powerful people. It's not going to be wealthy people. It's going to be poor people. I don't know. I don't know of how soon it's going to happen. I have a hard time believing that like this country would ever have a revolution because Americans are too lazy. Yes, it is. Most of it's public, but no, you're right, Mouthy. Things are really volatile right now, but like our military industrial complex is strong. you think that the military is just going to sit back and let people like do a coup or like let people really like do a revolution? And, you know, if a revolution, let's just say a revolution happened, I don't think that the left would win. Not in the time that we live in right now. I think the right would. They're the ones who have all the guns. They're the ones who are super violent. And they're the ones who are serious about consolidating power and taking over the country. So I think my fear is that my fear of something like that happening is that like it would help the right, not the left. Yeah. Yeah, sure, Mouthy, I'll read it. Yeah. No, and that's the other thing. If a civil war happened, that's the other thing, is that like obviously I hope that doesn't happen, but if it did happen, I wouldn't be cheering it because I think that the right wing are a lot more violent than the left. They're a lot more armed than the left. And they are much more serious about power. And you know the reason why they're more serious about power and they really believe by any means necessary is because they have been conditioned to believe that they're really under threat. Like for years, the right wing has been priming them to believe that they are under threat, to believe that they're coming for white people. They're coming for white people. Immigrants are taking over. They're coming to take your guns. You know, like all of the white people are about to be a minority. They're discriminating against Christians. Like the right has been priming their lunatic base with this for years. So if a revolution or a civil war were to happen, that is what the likely outcome would be a takeover, a violent takeover by the right wing, and an implementation of a theocracy where they get rid of trans people, put everybody on a registry, and deport every non-white person. Yeah. It's like it's exhausting and scary to think about. I'm worried, honestly. I'm worried about this election. And then you've got the endless amount of like dark money coming into the election, like all the money from the Zionists. Yeah. And the gaslighting of the Muslim community. No, it's going to be bad. And they want to shut everybody's speech down, you know? The way they're shutting down speech about on TikTok, the way the Zionists are shutting down everybody's speech. It's very scary. They're trying to censor everybody on everything on every app. Yeah, I honestly don't see the Democrats winning either. I think that they're going to lose. And obviously that scares me because as much as I hate the Democrats, like I said, the Republicans are actual fascists, like literal fascists. And I think that if Trump wins, there's a very high likelihood that it'll be the last election. I mean, and by that, I mean, like, it doesn't necessarily mean that we won't have another election, but like, we won't ever have like a free and fair election again. And Democrats are probably going to lose. And it really sucks because, like I said, as much as that scares me, it's also their own fault. They see the polling. And yet they're continuing to run Joe Biden, even though Joe Biden is deeply unpopular. He's on death's door. He can barely talk. And he has lost all the support of the Arab community because of his disastrous running cover for everything Netanyahu does. Yeah, Mo, I am too. And it's really hard to make the case for Joe Biden being like, I personally believe that Trump is a lot more dangerous than Joe Biden. But it's kind of hard to make that case when Joe Biden is presiding over, well, I guess not presiding, but he is funding, standing by, and okaying the genocide in Gaza, not pushing back on Netanyahu, not conditioning our aid to Israel. None of that. So it's really hard to make the case that Democrats are going to be the saviors or that they're going to be better when Joe Biden is allowing for Israel to do this. And I say allowing because, yes, Israel is the one taking the actions, but America, we are their sugar daddy. They live off our welfare. So Joe Biden could stop this, could stop Israel at any time, and he's not. So it's really hard to make the case that anybody should vote for Joe Biden, especially an Arab American, when this is how much he shows he values Arab Americans. What you are telling Arabs is that you don't give a fuck about them. You don't care about them. Palestinians don't matter. That's what you're saying. So how is anybody supposed to make the case for a second Joe Biden term, for another Joe Biden presidency, when this is how he's treating the Arab American community? Yeah, I know. Both options are horrible. They didn't just rig the Democratic primaries in 2016. They did it in 2022. No, I know, Mo. It's very upsetting to think about that. Like, when I think about the lack of empathy that people have for the Palestinians, the way that, like, Brian Mast talks about them, the way they talk about them, the way that people just watch the videos of the Palestinians getting massacred and no one cares, no one does anything. It really makes me, like, lose faith in humanity. Like, you people are sociopaths. You're sociopaths. Like, how can you look at what is happening to the Palestinians and not feel fucking horrified? Not feel horrified, not feel just totally broken, not feel like you want to do everything that you can to make it stop. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Blood curdling. These people are sick. They're sick in the head. But if you talk about it, like I'm talking about it, I get endless fucking messages from Zionists calling me anti-Semitic, which is kind of funny. So I'm anti-Semitic because I'm calling out the Israeli lobby and its genocidal regime. But you're not anti-Palestinian or racist when you won't even condemn the murder of innocent children and civilians. Because why? Why? Because Israel's just defending itself. It's always defending itself. Because you don't think Palestinians are people. That's why. Yeah, what the fuck is going on in Canada? What the fuck is happening in Canada? I don't honestly read that much about what's happening in Canada because I always think of Canada as like our not that interesting cousin. You know what I mean? No offense. Love my Canadian brothers and sisters. But I really just am always like, wait, what about Canada? And then they want to talk about Hamas. Like they actually want to talk about Hamas. Like, no, I won't be. I won't ever be condemning Hamas. Thank you. Hamas based, actually, freedom fighters. Unlike this terrorist that we have sitting in our Congress, this fucking piece of shit, this ugly troglodyte. Ah, we didn't like you guys getting all the attention. Yeah, they are freedom fighters. And actually, under international law, they have the right to resist. Because everybody loves to be like, Israel has a right to defend itself. Okay, so do the Palestinians. Palestinians have a right to resist. They have a right to defend themselves. But that's not how it's treated. Because they're treated like they don't matter. Oh, you are Palestinian. Do you live in Palestine or where do you live? Well, yeah, and you're Palestinian, so you just also probably know the history from living it, from being Palestinian. Oh, yes, Mouthy, you're right. I'm sorry. You did tell me that. You did tell me that. Mouthy, it must be really hard for you as a Palestinian American to just watch how our government just treats the Palestinian people like they're not people. They're not worthy of being protected. Disregarding the UN, disregarding the resolutions, disregarding the ICJ. I really feel for you too as a Palestinian American because I've realized that like the amount of like gaslighting that you guys have had to go through. Like epic next level gaslighting. Like basically you guys had to spend your whole lives trying to defend your existence while everybody screamed in your face about how Israel had a right to defend itself. Or if you tried to speak up for your own humanity, they call you anti-Semitic. Or Hamas. Everyone's Hamas. And I know like ugh, like having to deal like with that for fucking so many of our eyes that's happening. Yeah, first, last. That's kind of what happened to me too. As I was just yeah, it's really like next level gaslighting. That obviously Palestinians know because they have been dealing it with them their whole lives. But I think that it's been something that I've had to really like just be like, oh my gosh, like really take in and learn about because as first last you just said a minute ago, I'm kind of where you are. Like, I didn't really understand what was going on in Palestine or what was going on with the Palestinians before October 7th. I didn't really know. Like, all I would ever hear, even from like online media or quote unquote left media, was like the narrative that I was told and that a lot of people were told was that Palestinians just hated Jews. That like it was just about anti-Semitism. It was about racism. And because of the historical oppression that Jews have faced and the discrimination that they have faced, I think what it did, and you can tell me first, last, if you've had this experience or if you disagree with me or not. But for me, anyway, I feel like I didn't really question it that much, or I felt like I couldn't say anything or that like it was wrong to question it or think anything different because for fear that I would be perceived as anti-Semitic or called anti-Semitic or genuinely be perceived that way because I do care about Jewish people and I care about Jewish people being protected. And I care about, you know, Jewish people as a marginalized group. And so it was a very, I look at it now that I know the truth as, wow, it was a very effective tool that the Zionists have used to keep people from ever questioning what is actually happening in Gaza and what is actually happening in Palestine by just shutting down any questions or any discussion about what's happening by immediately calling people anti-Semitic. And like I said, because I care about marginalized groups and I care about the oppressed, I was afraid that, like, oh, if I criticize Israel, am I being anti-Semitic? Am I criticizing Jewish people? And I really had to like dig in and learn more about what Zionism was and the state of Israel, the government of Israel, and learn that, like, no, Jewish people are not Israel. The state and the government of Israel are not Jewish people, and Zionism is not anti-Zionism is not anti-Semitism. And once I kind of got through that process of like, okay, I am not being anti-Semitic by questioning what Israel is doing to the Palestinians, then everything kind of opened up and I started to really understand the lying, the gaslighting, more about the occupation. I started reading books about it. I started watching documentaries about it. I started following all these Palestinian creators. And my mind was just like completely changed, completely opened up. And then simultaneously to that, I have been watching the genocide unfold in Gaza. And I don't know how anybody could watch that and not have it change them. I don't know how anybody could. Yeah, that's pretty much what I was told too, first last. Was told that it was all about terrorism. It was about anti-Jewish hatred and that there were terrorists hiding behind there. Like, no one ever talked about like the occupation. They didn't talk about the apartheid. Why are those people behind the wall? But that is, again, the language of dehumanization, you know? With Israel, the IOF gets to defend itself, but the Palestinians are all terrorists. Like, the IOF are a defense, a moral army, but Palestinians are terrorists. Like, they never went any further than that. It was like, they're terrorists. That's why they're behind a wall. No questions. And if you question it, you're anti-Semitic. Like, that's pretty much how it went. So, Mouthy, so like, when October 7th first happened, and this was, by the way, before I realized that, like, they actually made up a lot of what happened on October 7th, the IOF. So when October 7th first happened, I didn't have any idea really about what was going on in Gaza. I wasn't very educated on the issue. Like I said, my knowledge of it was pretty cursory. And actually not even like, I didn't really have knowledge on it because I didn't understand that it was an occupation. I didn't understand it was an apartheid. I just thought it was what Israel said it was. Israel is this moral democracy and all these terrorists hate them and want to kill them because they're Jewish. And because of anti-Semitism being a very real thing in the world, because of anti-Semitism being a very real thing in the world, like, I thought, I thought, of course, that must be true because a lot of people are anti-Semitic throughout the history of the world. And so then when it first happened, like, if you go back on some of my earlier TikToks when this first happened, like, you can almost kind of see like the screws turning in my head, like, as I'm figuring it out in real time. Because at first I was like, oh my gosh, Hamas are terrible. Like, I condemn them. How could they do this to innocent babies? And, you know, there was they chopped off all these babies' heads and mass rapes and all this fucking bullshit that they literally made up. And so when it first happened, I was like horrified. I was like, oh my gosh, this is awful. But then I started realizing as it started to unfold that, like, not only were the IOF lying about a lot of what they said, they are literally just making a lot of it up. And they were making a lot of it up so that they could excuse and justify going in and doing a genocide against the Palestinians. But also that I started to really question, like, oh, wait, who are we calling terrorists and why? Because you say Israel has a right to defend itself, but then why don't Hamas? You say that Israel is allowed to go kill people in the defense of the state of Israel. So why can't Hamas do the same? Why can't Hamas kill people in defense? Make it make sense. What's good for the goose is good for the gander, bitch. If Israel can defend itself, then why can't Hamas? And it's who we decide gets the designation of a terrorist and who doesn't. And then I learned that, like, they didn't even have their own government, that they had no control over their own borders, that there was a blockade on them, like all that stuff that I didn't know. And I thought, wait a second. Then who are you defending yourself from? Like, it was like mind blowing. And I know that this sounds mouthy. This probably sounds like absurd to you because you're like, you dumb American fucking Western egocentric white bitch. Why didn't you know this? And like, I get it. Because again, you've lived this your whole life. So you know it in and out. But for me, it was like mind blowing. Yes, Palestinian olive oil. Oh, that sounds delicious. Oh, that sounds delicious. But yeah, for me, it was like mind blowing. It was like mind blowing. I was like, oh my gosh. Like, it was like my head kept exploding with the information. And then I was like, wait a second. They don't control their own borders. They don't have a military. They don't control their own water. They don't control their own electricity. There's a blockade. They can't move freely in and out of their own like area. Like, so what? So who is Israel defending themselves from if they're in charge? My mind was just blown. Obviously, everything changed after that. My perspective completely changed. And then I started, watching more Palestinian creators talk about it and their experience. I read the 100-Year War on Palestine. And it just, everything changed. And then, like I said, watching the clips of the Palestinians and what they've been suffering from and what the genocide that has been happening to them, just totally changed me. I don't think I'll ever be the same after that. Yeah, that's true, Mouthy. We don't control our government. Oh, thanks, Mouthy. I'm never going to stop talking about Palestine until they're free. Like, I'm literally like, this is now the thing that I think, because it was such a shock to me what the Palestinians were actually going through and how badly they're treated. I think it actually like fundamentally changed who I am. And now this is like a major main issue that I fucking care about. Yeah, I agree, Mo. I feel it makes me really sad too. They are, yeah, Lindy, you're right. They're defending themselves from what? From what? From kids with rocks? I'm glad to hear that. I hope that Palestinian Americans, I hope that Palestinian Americans feel the fact that there are so many people that support the Palestinians. I don't think. And now, like, it's also kind of funny because I don't think that the IOF realized how much damage they've done to themselves. You know what I mean? Like, I do remember, even though I still, oh, Mouthy, that's awesome. Activist in the 1970s in New York City. Based. I think that I just lost my train of thought. What was I going to say? I was going to say something. Oh, right. That's what it was. So I actually remember when Shireen Abu Akleh got killed by the IOF. And at the time, like I said, I really didn't know what was going on. I wasn't really educated on Palestine, Gaza, or the occupied West Bank. And when they told us everywhere in our media that she was killed on accident, I actually believed it, which Lamau, embarrassing that I believed that. Of course it wasn't an accident. Of course they killed her on purpose. And I've since learned, since following the IOF, that they literally kill people like it ain't no thing. Like, their army is so disgusting. Like, and I'm not saying that to like to like defend the American military, but like unironically, I feel like I've never seen an army as grotesque as the IOF. Like, worse than our military. More sociopathic. Like, yes, I know that our army has had scandals and has done atrocious things like Abu Ghraib and the leaks that Edward Snowden and Chelsea Manning revealed. Like, I'm aware of that. But with the IOF, it seems to be systemic. Like, that's their whole shtick. Like, their whole thing is we're sociopathic killers. They call themselves a moral army, but they literally film themselves being psychotic murderers. Yeah, they did. I know, I've been reading a lot about it. Yeah, their entire nation is militarized, but like unironically, their military is like fucking evil, like way worse than ours, I think. I feel like at least American military, at the very least, are I guess good about lying and hiding it and pretending that they care about civilians, as opposed to the IOF that constantly posts deranged TikToks of themselves dancing on the graves of children. Yeah, I know. Mo, you're right. You're right, Mo. When she's like, "Oh yeah," when she's on The View, when VP was on The View, and she was like, we can't lose sight of October 7th and all the atrocities that happened." First of all, again, I personally do not believe what they say happened on October 7th. I think that they're fucking lying. I think that they made it up as an excuse to go and massacre Palestinians. And one of the reasons why I think that too is why they be hiding all that evidence. They're claiming that they've got so much evidence. Oh, have you seen the video of October 7th? It's horrible, but you can't watch it. You can't see it. It's really bad though. Trust us, bro. But we can't see it. That's not sus. That's not sus. So I don't believe anything they say about October 7th. I think they're fucking making it up. And then also, there's literally Israelis saying that they were shooting at them. Like, you can go and look up clips of people that live in Israel that said the IOF were shooting at us. So, like, it's just ridiculous. It's a fucking lie. And they lie all the time. And that's the other thing, is that, like, I started realizing just from reading about it more and looking at it and watching their deranged military videos that, like, they lie all the time. Everything they say is a lie. And all they have to, and also they're rogue, you know, there's no accountability at all. All they have to say is, but Hamas. And everyone's like, oh, okay. Oh, okay. Yeah. 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 But Hamas, but Hamas, but Hamas. With a new purpose. You know, Mo, I think you might be right. I think I might have been born again with a new purpose. I think you're right about that, because I feel like I'm on a crusade. I feel like I'm on a. I think some would say it. I think I'm on a jihad now. And that's just the other funny thing. It's just how they like weaponize and like would always like make words like sound really, really scary. Like just the way that they've weaponized the fear mongering around Muslims. Yeah. No, I know, Mouthy. I know that's what it means now. But what I'm saying is, like, as an American and as a white person, you know how like you're an American too, so you understand how America's brain was totally fried after 9/11. So in the North Pole. So, like, remember how they made every single, yeah, no, I know, Mouthy. I know, I don't need to tell you, you know. That, like, they made every single thing that was, like, even slightly Arabic or Muslim sound scary. Like, it was all jihad. They're gonna bring Sharia law in America. There's a lot of brown people here. I heard somebody speaking Arabic. Sounds like Akhuar Akbar. Like, literally. Like, they would just always say it like it was supposed to be scary. Like anything Muslim, anything Arab was scary. Like, that's always how they presented it. And it's amazing. It's amazing. I feel like people who aren't American don't really understand the extent to which 9/11 broke everyone's brain. Oh, yeah. Yeah. And it was purposeful. It was purposeful, the propaganda that they used against Arab Americans. I actually knew someone who was Lebanese who said that they had come to the United States in the 80s and felt like they were happy here. They lived in Virginia, like right outside of DC. And then they said, like, after 9/11, everything changed. Pulled Arab. Oh my gosh, you're right. When they were pulling Arabs off the planes because they were speaking Arabic. Guys. So bad. Oh, you are Lebanese. Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of that. And they taught us to be afraid. They really did teach us to be afraid of them. And you don't really know until you're exposed to people that you're being propagandized. I don't know if that makes sense. But, like, for me, I don't think I realized to the extent that I'd been propagandized into being afraid of Arab people until I moved to the East Coast and actually started meeting Arab people. And then I, like, realized, like, oh, because if you grow up around someone, you're never afraid, you know, because you grow up around them. I grew up around Black people. I grew up around Mexican people, but I didn't really know any Arab people when I was a kid. And then I grew up, and once I met Arab people, it started to make me realize the internalized biases and fears and prejudices that I had because I had been so propagandized, especially post 9/11 as I was growing up. And then I started just, like, questioning those biases and being like, wait a minute, why am I afraid? Why? Like, why is it scary? Yeah. Oh, that's terrible. Yeah, we got to do better. We really do. Us, like, white people in the West, whether you're in Canada or America, we got to do better, guys, of, like, protecting and standing up for our Arab brothers and sisters. Anyway, I only had an hour before my husband came home. Now I gotta wrap it up, but how all these liars sleep at night. Yeah, Mo, I know. I agree. I don't know how they sleep. Actual demons. They're all demons. That's good to hear, Imad. All right. Well, I got to wrap it up because now my husband's home, but I really wanted to share this with you guys because I wanted to talk about what a demon Marjorie Taylor Greene is and what a demon Brian Mast is and what, like, actual evil, vile pieces of human garbage they are. But like I said, I couldn't really do it on TikTok because TikTok is like their lives and stuff are full of Zionists that'll just, like, report you, and TikTok is really censorious and all of that stuff, so I couldn't really say it there. But I love you guys, and thank you for joining my live for a little and hanging out with me while we talked about this. And yeah, I'll see you guys next time. I'll be on TikTok tomorrow. I love you all.